Just like last year, then, Albert Park played host to both the pre-season testing and the opening round of the F1 2022 season. Hello everyone, and welcome back, guys, to the pre-season testing and driver transfer news for Season 3 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. First of all, then, of course, is the reigning world champions 212 Motorsport finally able to end Mercedes' complete dominance of dominant run in Formula 1 over the last 2 years. They've opted to keep their driver lineup of obviously now reigning world champion Matt Beard and George Russell after a very, very strong season for both of their drivers. George Russell struggled in the first half of 2021, but the later stages of the car, the form that both drivers were able to put up, winning all of the last 7 races, claiming all 7 pole positions as well in the last few races of 2021, made it an easy choice for the team to keep hold of both of their British drivers here. British drivers, a British team, everyone was looking to try and go back-to-back this season within that outfit. They want to prove they aren't just a one-year pony, that they can perform with Mercedes and Ferrari and the very best teams that Formula 1 has to offer on a more long-term scale. And after no major rule changes heading into 2022, that might be a very, very big possibility for the English-based team now. I'm sure Mercedes will be bringing a lot of upgrades to their new car after being just edged out in the final round at Abu Dhabi last season. Obviously, 212 Motorsports only led the Constructors' Championship after one race weekend last year, and of course it was the only one that mattered, of course, after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix there. They'll be looking, like we said, to go back-to-back here in 2022. Next up then, of course, are Mercedes, obviously 7-time drivers and constructors world champions, still very, very much fighting towards the front of Formula 1. And after a few upgrades didn't quite work out as well for the team as they would have wanted, 7-time Formula 1 world champion Lewis Hamilton looks set to try and make it 8 this year round, obviously after it being edged out by 212 Motorsport and just a generally poor performing season by the Englishman. 5 non-point scoring finishes was really not what he and Mercedes needed, and it was actually in fact his teammate Valtteri Bottas who took the team to the checkered flag there, and obviously was able to give 212 Motorsports Matt Beard a much, much better run for his money. But the Brackley-based team opting to keep their lineup that we've seen been a constant since F1 2017. 6 years now, Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas have been teammates, the longest teammates either of them have had, obviously, of course, being with each other. Their aim, though, in 2022, obviously, to finally get back on top once again, after a season where they probably weren't expecting to be edged out by what was really a midfield team in 2020. They thoroughly did end up getting a little bit slapped, I think it's fair to say. And Toto Wolff, not happy with how the team performed in the second half of 2021. Moving on, though, to our third team then, and Ferrari, obviously, after Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement at the end of last year. One of the most exciting driver lineups I think we've ever seen in Formula 1 has now come to fruition there. Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc both at Maranello together here. 2 of the youngest drivers in Formula 1, 2 of the most talented drivers as well in Formula 1, and arguably Formula 1's future is now all locked down at Ferrari there. Verstappen obviously made a great call in 2021 to leave Red Bull, obviously after their awful season that we'll get on to in just a minute. But after Charles Leclerc left the team at the end of 2020, obviously to make room for Max Verstappen after being not happy with the reliability issues which ended up costing him the 2020 season. They have both now back at Maranello for the new year. Obviously Ferrari, a bit of a quiet season, 1 win apiece for Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel, finishing 5th and 6th in the Drivers' World Championship. They never quite had the car to match Mercedes, and then obviously after 212 Motorsport had such an impressive run of form in the second half of the season. It really wasn't quite the way Ferrari wanted to see out 2021. But like I mentioned, no major rule changes heading into the new year, so they've got a good stable platform to build on, and obviously with 2 of Formula 1's strongest young guns as well. I'm sure Ferrari, both their drivers will be pushing each other to the absolute limits as well as we head into the new season. Certainly a bit of a dark horse in the early stages, but we're always, aware of the presence Ferrari have in Formula 1 as well. Heading on, though, to the best of the rest from 2021. Of course, it was Racing Point. After a bit of a slow 2020 season, they finally got to grips with the rule package and the aero upgrades and everything like that that plagued them, gave them a few issues over the course of 2021. Obviously, Sergio Perez able to take home the team's first and only to date Formula 1 race victory. Obviously, that was a big, big aim for the team heading into the new era of the sport in the 2020s. But Lance Stroll, still a good, consistent second driver for the team. They were both able to get only Sergio Perez last year, able to get a podium for the team, but still both drivers looking rather strong. And obviously with Lance Stroll's father owning obviously a majority stake still in the team, it was going to be unlikely that we were going to see Lance Stroll heading anywhere else for 2022. Sergio Perez, obviously with that long-term contract with the team coming to an end at the end of 2022, it's certainly going to be exciting to see whether he holds on to the team ready for 2023 as well. But the aim for them is to bridge the gap to the top runners, obviously Mercedes, Ferrari, and 212 Motorsports, and try and hold back from Red Bull behind them, who I'm sure are going to be trying to come into the new season with a much quicker package than we saw from them over the course of 2021. Racing Point, though, always there, always present, and they've got a very, very quick car underneath them as we head into the new season. Another team coming into 2022, of course, with big aspirations are Renault. Obviously, after taking one victory in 2020 and then another victory in 2021 and an incredibly strong run of form from Esteban Ocon in the latter stages of last year, Renault heading to the new season as a bit of an unknown quantity for a lot of teams. Obviously, their aim has always been to try and finally bridge the gap to the top teams and be able to challenge full race victories week in, week out here. And although we've seen that potential a couple of times in the past, Renault just don't seem to be able to get it down over the course of the year there. They have, though, maintained their lineup of Kimi Räikkönen and Esteban Ocon for the new season. Obviously, Räikkönen bringing so much experience to the team, now heading into his 42nd birthday as well there. But yeah, they certainly are hoping this year that they can try and once again bridge the gap to the top runners and just be a more consistent point scorer, and maybe try and get back like they did in 2020 as the best of the rest team after just getting edged out by Racing Point, having that stronger Mercedes power unit really to give them a helping hand over the course of the season. But yeah, Renault, always a bit of an unknown quantity, and I'm sure we're going to see them back stronger than ever here for 2022. Moving on, though, to our second driver transfer news. Obviously, after Sebastian Vettel's retirement, Charles Leclerc heading back to Ferrari. That opened up the door for Jordan King. Yes, his third season in Formula 1 and his third season with a new team here. Obviously, he was given the drive in 2020 with 212 Motorsports. He then headed over to Williams in a swap with George Russell for 2021. Williams weren't particularly happy with his performances over the course of the year, so now he has been able to find himself a seat at Alfa Romeo there. He joins Matsushita, obviously, who spent all of 2021 with the team as well there, so he's hoping now, obviously, after a bit of an up-and-down campaign, 1-point scoring finish, one more than Jordan King's ever had in his career, however, that Matsushita now can finally start being a bit more of a threat over the course of a season. Obviously, Charles Leclerc comfortably wiped the floor with him over the course of 2021. But Matsushita came into 2022 saying he learnt a lot after his first season in Formula 1 and was hoping now with a few upgrades from Alfa Romeo that maybe they can be a little bit closer to the points week in, week out, and hopefully that the Japanese driver can be looking to try and score points on a bit more of a regular basis heading into the new year. Alfa Romeo, though, were open to accept losing Charles Leclerc was a big blow for the team. They were certainly not quite going to be in as strong a position as we saw from them last year, but confident in their two young drivers nonetheless, and hoping that Jordan King can finally prove his worth in Formula 1 despite never quite being able to be given, sort of top midfield machinery at the best of times. Moving on, though, to our next team then, of course, is McLaren. Again, just 2021. They showed good promise in a couple of weekends. Obviously, Carlos Sainz picking up 2 podiums and Lando Norris picking up a podium as well. But obviously, after the race victory in the 2020 Spanish Grand Prix for Lando Norris, 2021 just seemed to be a little bit quieter, and they were probably rather lucky, actually, to come away with P7 in the Constructors' World Championship, obviously after a brilliant tightly fought battle between them, Red Bull and Alfa Tauri over the course of 2021. Yeah, McLaren, they have made it very clear they've sort of learnt from their mistakes in the past, still not too happy with the performance of the Renault power units that they're still operating with for the new year, and hoping that maybe some aero and chassis upgrades can give them a helping hand. Obviously, both Renault and McLaren have seen now 212 Motorsports able to win with that powertrain, so they know it's possible. They just obviously have to get it right. And obviously McLaren, after some financial issues as well in recent years, are hoping finally now 2022 can be the year that they make a big charge towards the top runners again. Obviously themselves, Renault and Racing Point, really the teams, that I'm sure a lot of people would be expecting to be able to now challenge the establishment and the big three. The worst performing team, though, from 2021 even, sorry, I should say, of course, being Red Bull. They never seem to be able to get the car working over the entirety of the year, and Christian Horner and the whole team obviously never really had it in their long-term plan to be battling with Alpha Tauri over the course of the year. But Renault, they've accepted they made a lot of mistakes. The Honda power unit looked so quick heading into 2021, and it just never really did work out for Red Bull or Alpha Tauri there. And yeah, just so much promise and just such a lack of potential was to be fulfilled there. They, though, have kept their lineup of Ricciardo and Albon, both drivers doing admirably in the lack of machinery that they have been given. But Red Bull, yes, certainly need a resurgence of form as we head into 2022. Very much the same sort of story, obviously, for Alpha Tauri. They came into 2021 with such a strong car underneath them on paper, but you came to the Australian Grand Prix, a fairly decent season opener, and then, yeah, just really not many other highlights over the course of the year there. I'm sure they were rather happy to be battling Red Bull, but both teams knew just how many issues they had and just how badly they'd understood the Honda powertrain ready for the new season. Again, like I said, it showed so much promise, but they just never were able to deliver on it. And, you know, both the Red Bull teams sort of understood that neither of the four drivers were able to be able to get the most out of the car. So they have kept them on for another year here. Obviously, Pierre Gasly, I'm sure, looking to try and prove himself towards Red Bull once again if Ricciardo or Albon either decides to leave Formula 1 or leave the team as well heading into 2023. And Danny Kvyat, yeah, I'm sure, always looking to try and prove himself as well in the wonderful world of Formula 1. But hopefully a more exciting time here in 2022. Maybe we can see Red Bull and Alpha Tauri being able to battle a little bit closer to where they should be over the course of the year as well. Alpha Tauri obviously still just trying to set up their place for Red Bull drivers in the future, but a few more points of podiums certainly wouldn't go amiss either. Heading though into our 10th team, of course, it is Haas, and after really what was, yeah, their most disappointing season ever in Formula 1. 1 points finish for Kevin Magnussen, and even that was a rather lucky 4th place at the Monaco Grand Prix. Other than that, no points scored by the Haas outfit, and they were, yeah, completely carried by that. Otherwise, they might have been jumped by Williams at the end of 2020. You know, it was always just Haas and Williams battling at the back of the field. Neither team really seemed to be able to make much progress over the course of 2020. But yeah, Haas, the only Ferrari-powered lineup, though, to be keeping their driver lineup from 2021. Nick de Vries staying with Kevin Magnussen. Obviously, two feisty drivers, always looking to try and prove their worth in the world of Formula 1. It's something that Gunther Steiner is a big fan of in the both of them. You know, neither of them will ever back down from a fight, and always, yeah, looking to try and get any opportunity they possibly can out of the car. 2022 is said to be a bit of a rebuild for the team. You know, they're hoping now they can sort of learn from their mistakes, from what they've, you know, why they've been going backwards over the last few years in the sport, and hopefully this season around they can be aiming to try and score a few more points finishes around tracks that suit their car. And the last team, though, heading into 2022, of course, is Williams, actually. Nicholas Latifi with the team for now his 3rd straight season, looking to try and make improvements, and he's actually now joined by a familiar face in Formula 1 of Antonio Giovinazzi, meaning that this year there are officially no rookies heading into Formula 1. I know, I couldn't believe it either when I saw the driver transfer news, but Giovinazzi has been given a second chance now, obviously out of the Ferrari family, heading over to Williams. I'm sure he's going to be looking to try and make himself a name towards Mercedes as well in the future. But yeah, really, Williams in the same boat as Haas. They need to desperately make big performance gains if they want to be able to try and score points once again. Obviously, haven't scored a point since F1 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, 2 pointless years in a row. Obviously, only 1 point in 2019 as well. Williams still in the doldrums at the moment, but I'm sure they're going to be looking to try and make some progress once again. But there we are then, guys. All the driver transfer news heading into Season 3 of our F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know which driver lineup you are most excited to be watching. Personally, for me, I think Verstappen and Charles Leclerc is going to be one to watch over the course of the year. Not as crazy as at the end of Season 1 into Season 2, but still some good moves that are going to make things interesting as we head into the new year. We will be back tomorrow, though, ready for the Australian Grand Prix. Make sure you get yourself subscribed, and yeah, be there, notifications on, all that good stuff, and yeah, we will be back tomorrow for the Australian Grand Prix. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.